Salam. I wanted to share an interesting thought I had about shift in mentality that kind of changed my life. And it's not a big revelation or anything, but it could be useful for someone who needs to hear it, or it could just be an interesting reminder. This video is mainly aimed at Muslims, but perhaps anyone could benefit, inshallah. So I've discovered two contrasting ways of thinking: God owes me versus I owe God. Those two mentalities, um, sometimes we will find ourselves for years living on the God owes me mentality, astaghfirullah, without even realizing it. And that mentality can even apply to people who don't believe in God. In fact, it often leads to disbelief in God because people will say things like, oh, well, how can there be a God if, there's all of this suffering, right? The problem of evil. So, anger about suffering is a pretty classic example of what I call the God owes me mentality. Um, Another example would be the opposite end of the spectrum, entitlement about not, rather than feeling sad about suffering, you might feel annoyed that you don't have a blessing. And, you're looking around at what others have that you don't have and feeling like, why me? Why does everyone else get this thing and I really want it? This could look like everyone around you is getting a job and you can't find a job. Everyone around you is finding love and you are alone. Everyone around you having a baby and you are unable to have a baby. Whatever the case may be, you feel like you've been deprived of something. And you start to build this resentment towards Allah. If you don't believe in God, it can just be a general resentment about life. um, and this mentality, switching to the attitude of I owe God, the attitude of owing God can change your life and your hereafter. Because when you are, we don't like to admit it, but we all have a little bit of a kernel of selfishness inside of us. The Quran even says this about humanity. It's human nature. You're thinking about yourself. You are locked into your own perspective by default, and you have to be reminded of other people's perspectives. And so, if you think that everything you have is yours and that's a given, then you don't feel grateful for it. And if you don't feel grateful for it, then you don't feel happy about it. None of your blessings are making you happy, nor do you do good with them. Whereas the flip side of that is if you feel like everything you have is a trust from Allah, it's been given to you temporarily and it's not actually yours, you'll be a lot more willing to give it. If you stop thinking of your money as your own, you'll give more. If you stop thinking of your time as your own, you'll give more. Often we feel resentful when we help someone with their some problem they're having. Like, I have my own problems. Why am I, giving a whole my precious day to help this person? Now I'm going to fall behind on my schedule. I have my own things going on, and it's within my right to say no to this. You are absolutely correct. It is within your right to say no. But if you realize that even your time is borrowed, then your days will ironically feel more meaningful when you give them away. And what I mean by that is simply switching to that attitude of I owe God will really change your willingness to engage, where you're not living to acquire and accumulate, but rather you are living to strive and to affect and to help as much as you can, because all of us have something we want that maybe everyone around us has it and we don't have it. Came easier to others, Allahu alam, who knows. But um, there's also for all of us so many more things that we have that others don't have. And so we might be super fixated on that one little, quote unquote, missing brick from our building. But actually, none of those bricks were promised to us. That our own existence was not promised to us. It's all an amazing blessing. And if someone were to take away one of those bricks, we would fight and we would complain and, but we don't appreciate that it's there when we have the God owes me something mentality. And so once you switch to that I owe God mentality, anything, any brick He has given you, any edge you have, you will find yourself more willing to give of it and share of your resources and your skills, from being healthy to having a car to knowing a craft. Whatever you have good that's going on for you, you can think, okay, well, I have this thing that can make someone else's life a lot easier if I pitch in. So, how can I be helpful to other people? Um, where your existence isn't just you trying to make something for yourself. Even people, I feel some people, they live for their families, but they don't live beyond their families. And so everything they're doing they might think of it as generous because they're like, putting their children ahead of themselves, putting their partner ahead of themselves, but they still not aware of the world beyond the bubble of their family. And I don't think that's, I think the attitude of I owe God goes beyond that. Um, that you don't just want to help your family. Helping your family is very good and important, but the I owe God attitude is I owe everyone in the world. Like, I have blessings that other people don't have. Those aren't just, oh, lucky me, or a given that I could have not had, that someone else could have had it instead. And then I would have been like, oh, where's my thing? But here we are, full of blessings, and still saying, when's it my time? Where's my turn? And so you will be happier if you live your life as an expression of gratitude to Allah. So inshallah, this video was useful for somebody. And if it was, you can reflect on whatever's going on in your life and how you can start to change your mentality from God owes me to I owe God. Because I think most people wouldn't actually word it that way, of God owes me. Like, astaghfirullah, that phrase alone just sounds so disgusting. But I hope that it might shock someone to hear that phrase into realizing that that is kind of what they're saying when they're going around feeling angry about the unfairness, when even their existence is a gift, and there's so many things stemming from that are a gift. And even the lessons that come from the suffering and the growth, and the fact that we're not here because of our temporary time on here, like on this earth, that there is so much more beyond this. So, let's not miss the point. I just want to add a couple of final thoughts too. First of all, there's a beautiful hadith about how we shouldn't look at people who have more than us. We should look at people who have less than us, so that we don't belittle Allah's favor upon us. And this is amazing advice. This is an authentic Sahih hadith. Um, when we are constantly on social media looking at, wealthy, attractive figures, and, living these glorified lifestyles that are very fake, like, obviously everyone in those photos has their own problems, but that's just not the image they're depicting. You are going to resent and make light of all of the bricks in your building. Whereas if you spend your time really thinking about people in hardship, people who things for them don't come easy that came easy to you, then you'll start to think, rather than why not me, where's mine, when's it going to be my turn, you're going to switch to thinking about, why do I have this blessing that others don't have? And the answer to that, like, that realization can be uncomfortable at first. Why am I living in more wealth than other people? Why do I have peace and security while other people don't? Why do I have love in my life that other people are lacking? Whatever the case may be for you, you can look at people who are really suffering because of something you've never had to worry about, whether your health or your time or whatever the case may be. And that's the why you will start asking, rather than, why don't I have? Why do I? Why do I have this while others don't? And that's when you'll start realizing, I owe God. And the way to thank God, Alhamdulillah, for his generosity, for his favor upon me, is to Rise to the occasion by sharing this blessing, because that's what would be most pleasing to God. Sharing it with those who don't have it, because you only have it temporarily as a test to see what you will do with it. Will you be grateful? Will you be generous? My final piece of advice is, if you haven't been looking at Asma Allah al Husna, Allah's 99 beautiful names, learn them, because once you get to know Him through His attributes, you will more naturally begin that mentality shift that is so needed. Realizing that His mercy and His generosity are incomparable, Alhamdulillah, and building the humility and patience to trust His wisdom whenever you do happen to be going through something difficult or you're trying to make sense of something. So, in conclusion, we owe Allah, and Allah does not owe us. Alhamdulillah.